Abusuayen Kandi wachia ya na ya osa agree yede NDC amanyoku enwom ba kwa na da manu yi pa eto Ghana fotim ema yede Afenyo yi ema wo mo ene se enwuma ebebuso se menemo kase adwuma baako nipa miensa 3 shift ene bosha eto Ghana fo ni mu asomu yi pa na nso ene obehwe na ye pam ebi mu free adwuma mu a ensem fata enye emra kwa so na no ana honorable Afenyo Markins ono eka eye vetting committee enei ye veti eye minister deputy minister designate na yera John Dumelo no eye deputy minister for food and agriculture and also the member of parliament for eye Lapewoti region. Honorable totuna no bi sese aso ensem wana mo ka che Ghana fu yene de ehu ni se nkofo bebre enwuma na ese ba wo mo na ebra enwuma eba bebusu yi koba ne sen ana wempu ehya ase ebai na menje enkani na John Dumelo eni yera Afenyo Markins na nkasa enkomotwetwe ni na wo ya hagebre na memfa enkomo ne nkansen na nto awso.
John, what is your own personal view of the unemployment situation in our country?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the unemployment problem is a national problem, and we in the NDC, about to reset the country, will make sure that we'll create a lot of employment opportunities, especially in the agri space. And so it's a national problem, and we are here to fix it. We might not be able to fix all, but we'll fix some. Thank you.
Have you become aware of discussions in the public space regarding Ghanaians who are losing their employment as a result of the directive of the Chief of Staff? Have you become aware?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Are some of these your constituents?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Have they come to appeal to you to help them get their jobs back?
Mr. Chairman, my understanding is those who lost their jobs are being reviewed. And so those who will be re-employed will be re-employed, and those who will not be re-employed will not be re-employed. And so that's the understanding that I have.
Yes. So what, if you pay attention to me, it will be helpful. However, you have given me some information that your understanding is that those who have lost their jobs, those situations are being reviewed, and those to be taken back will be taken back. Now, don't you think that the appropriate thing, therefore, would have been to keep these guys in employment and finish the review so that you take a final decision after the review, rather than terminating the appointment that they should all go home in their thousands? I say so because you state that some are your constituents and they've come to you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't think so. I think that sometimes when matters are being investigated, they ask you to step aside whilst investigations are going on. And so I think that's the rightful thing they did.
To terminate, to dismiss? Because this is not about step aside, go on some leave of a sort. They say, we've terminated your contract. I mean, that is what it is.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So you agree to that?
Yes.
That they should be sacked? They have been sacked?
They've not been sacked.
What have they done?
They've been sacked, but they might be recalled upon review.
Okay, so let's stay there a bit. Now, these your constituents who have lost their jobs as a result of this termination, mass dismissal. What have you been telling them as they came to you? What have you been telling them?
Mr. Chairman, I've been telling them to hold on, that everything will be fine. Again, one of our slogans was resetting Ghana. And so if it deems fit for us to be able to implement those exemptions now, we will. Because we want to grow Ghana and we want to make Ghana move forward in the right direction.
So you would want to suggest to your minister to bring back the exemptions so that those in the agro industry will enjoy that incentive to make it cheaper for the agro sector?
Mr. Chairman, in consultation with my boss, if it becomes necessary, yes.
I'm just reminding you that your party was against tax exemption. In the past. So if you are talking about going to introduce this exemption, then the industry will be happy to receive this incentive. So repeat that assurance so that the records will capture you properly.
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
listening to you.
it wasn't an assurance. It was in consultation with my boss. If it becomes necessary, we will implement it. Thank you.
How long have you been a member of the NDC?
Mr. Chairman, since 2008.
Proud to this, were you into politics, MPP?
Mr. Chairman, please, are you asking me if I was ever a member of the MPP?
That MPP as an example. I'm saying proud to this, were you into politics, like say being an MPP member or CPP?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Just decided to take away our seat, which has been our safe seat all these years. John.
Mr. Chairman, I worked hard for it, sir.
Menyolo.
Madakuku.
Now, what should your people in Likpe expect from you as you are going into this ministry? You know, the Oti region, you're so endowed with agro potential. People, the farmers, predominantly farmers, now they've seen that one of their own is going into the ministry. What should the region expect? Oti region, the farmers are listening to you. John, because persecution of opponents seem to have started, but
I tell them to always start small, and they shouldn't look at the bigger picture. They should look at the bigger picture, but they should always start small. And so if your dream is to have 1,000 cattle, you can start with 1 or 2. If your dream is to have 2,000 goats, just start with 1 or 2. If your dream is to make or add value to whatever it is you're producing, just start with something small and grow with the business. And so, yes, I do tell them that you should start small, because most of the time, when you start big and you don't have the experience, you're likely to crash. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
so from the NDC's manifesto, particularly your policy on food and agriculture, should the Ghanaian youth be assured that you are going to provide capital as an incentive to support them into agriculture?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not just capital, but we are focusing more on giving you items to start with, like the Nkoko Nkiti project. And so with the Nkoko Nkiti project, we are giving you day-old chicks, we are giving you some farm input, we are giving you cages for you to grow with the business. For other engagements like starting your own home farming, we are just going to give you some small capacity building to be able to start. And so it's not just about capital, it's about also capacity building. Thank you.
So when do we expect this? When should we really expect this?
Mr. Chairman, in consultation with my boss, we will let the House know, or the whole of Ghana know, when it can commence.
You know, Mr. President, mandate is up to 2028.
Correct.
The 4 years started counting from the 7th of January. So there is no time. Those hardliners who will be advising that chase your political opponent. You have to tell them that it's about jobs for the people, not persecution of opponents. Because persecution of opponents seem to have started, but the jobs for the people, not yet. So when the country would want to know, they've heard you on talking about what your opponents have done wrong. They've heard you, but what about your own mandate? When are you going to start? At least give an indication. Your boss is here. Leave can be granted for you to consult him.
Mr. Chairman, in consultation with my boss, we'll let the House know when we can start.
Very well. We'll take you for your word. Now, this women banking, have you heard about it?
Yes, please, Mr. Chairman.
What is it about? What is it about?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I've seen one of my mates right behind you. He's giving a signal that we should end soon. But I'm telling him that you're doing well thus far. So it's a basis for the continuation. But we'll be done soon. Don't worry. I know the chiefs have sat for some time.
Thank you, Mr.
But
Chairman.
we'll be done soon.
Thank you.
These are relevant matters for the industry, especially as you are a young man.
Yes, please.
Your campus people would want to know the promises you bring on board in the area you've been nominated for.
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the area of agriculture or in the area of business, what we realize is that women are always a formidable force. They are almost always the ones who can do business and do it well. But unfortunately, access to credit or funding is always a problem for them. And that's why the NDC agreed or has agreed to establish the women banking to be able to lend money to women at a relatively lower rate so that they can expand their businesses, they can create more businesses and create more jobs for the economy. Thank you.
So a bank is going to be established, correct?
Rightly so, Mr. Chairman.
With the state as the sole shareholder?
I'm not aware of the modalities, but what I do know is that a facility or a bank will be established to lend money to women.
With branches across the nation?
Rightly so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So we have the NEIP, we have MASLOC, we have the Ghana Enterprise Agency. Particularly Ghana Enterprise Agency is providing support to our women. In fact, they created a digitalized platform so effective that you don't even need to know somebody to access that facility. You think that all these are not enough?
No, Mr. Chairman. With the kind of economy that we have, all these are not enough. We still need more.
So the resetting of Ghana, what does it entail at all? The resetting of Ghana. This whole reset, what is it all about? Share with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, in the last 8 years, our economy hasn't been that good. And hasn't been that good. Hence, the need to reset Ghana. Hence the need to reset Ghana in all aspects of the economy.
When you say our economy hasn't been that good, I want to appreciate the context. Are you relating it to the COVID that struck the world, the external shocks vis-a-vis the Russian-Ukraine war and other external factors, or what? What exactly do you mean by the last 8 years the economy hasn't been that good? I want you to place it in proper context. I want to understand you. Are you referring to the COVID that struck the world, where for a whole year the whole world was in a form of a lockdown, where there was no production, where government had to pay public sector workers even when no revenue has been generated, where GRA could not go out to take taxes, yet every public sector employee was supposed to be paid? Please explain to me what exactly you mean by the last 8 years the economy hasn't been that good.
Mr. Chairman, if you listen to some of the comments made by the past administration, they confirmed and confessed that the economy was bad. And so I'm just reiterating what they said to say that the economy wasn't that good, hence the need for the NDC to reset Ghana in the right direction.
So in the general sense of external shocks is what we mean?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Then in what sense? I mean, I just need you to...
The external shocks affected everybody.
Right.
But Ghana wasn't able to drive out of it the way we expected them to.
No, explain. I just want to understand.
What I mean is that you mentioned COVID. You
Right.
mentioned Russia, Ukraine. But Russia, Ukraine, and COVID affected almost every country in the world. Some were able to navigate out of it, some couldn't.
Some of the countries that did a successful navigation...
Relatively,
No,
Ghana did poor.
No, no, it's okay. I'm happy with the conversation. I mean, this is a public discussion and for the records. Share with us those countries that, in your view, and you can limit yourself to the sub-region, those countries in the sub-region that, in your view, they navigated better out of the COVID and met expectation, and unfortunately Ghana could not. Please,
Mr. Chairman, I'm only repeating what some of your party members said during their campaign time. That
this is the honorable nominee.
Yes, sir.
Let's not go into campaign. Now you are a public officer.
Yes.
Okay, where you rely on data and facts. If you don't want to base your argument on some facts, statistics, and data, then let's retreat and then make progress. But if we are going to say things that people say on campaign platform, even my own party members, as you're saying, then we cannot make progress as a nation.
Mr. Chairman, let's retreat and make progress, please.
Chairman, that will be all for him.